This is episode number 4, I believe. This is a Leudic production all about young hustlers who are pursuing some really cool, innovative, unique, professional, and entrepreneurial endeavors. For those of you guys that don't know, Leudic is a new fashion e-commerce brand that creates comfortable, stylish clothing for all of the modern wearers. And so we are Leudic's co-founders. I'm Kara, this is Rye, and we are also your young and hungry hosts.
So today we have a really special person on Young and Hungry. This is a girl that I met through a SCAD, and I introduced her to Kara because I think she needs to be talked about and people need to learn from her.
Yes.
So just to introduce her, this is Victoria Mabe, and she's great and she's fantastic, and she's a concert photographer, which is a career you don't really hear about a lot. So she, like I said, she goes to SCAD. She's majoring in photography, and she does concert photography on the side. She's a freelancer, and her dream is to be a concert photographer for a band and tour with them and actually be working as a photojournalist for music industry. And I'm so excited for you guys to all hear about what she does, her creative process, because it's really unique. And Kara and I definitely learned a lot, and I'm really excited for you guys to just find out a lot about her.
And to check out her final products because they're absolutely amazing. But before we get started with Victoria, we just wanted to thank all of you guys for watching or tuning in or listening. We made this platform because we really believe that there needs to be a series and a platform that can support, encourage, and empower young entrepreneurs and professionals. We know that as new business owners, it can be really difficult to be taken seriously when you are young and you are starting a new endeavor. And there are just so many other obstacles that we all face. And so with that, we just decided that we want to create a platform to recognize these amazing young people. And so with all that being said, let's hear from Victoria.
For coming on to our podcast / interview series. We're so excited to have you here. Like I said in the intro, Victoria and I go to school together, and that's how I met her at SCAD. And she's always been the most creative photographer that I know there. Like our professors do a great job of letting us bring in our field of study into most of our projects. And she will always bring in her photography skills and do some really cool things. And I love also going out with her because she takes the best pictures, even on iPhones. She does a great job. So
I'm so honored to just be here. Like, right. Like when I saw you posting about your business, and I was like, this is so, like, I was inspired. I was like, oh. And then when you like asked me to be here, I was like, just honored that you even thought of me. Like, it really made my day. I was like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, we're so happy you're here.
Oh yeah.
Like I didn't know, so like we said, Victoria does concert photography, and I had really not seen pictures like that like before her. Like I would see in like really like big concerts, people take pictures of like artists like in a really cool manner, but just another person my age who has a good camera, but nothing like too extensive.
Yeah.
Some really cool shots that I'm like, it was like all of her pictures, please go check them out. They literally look like they're in like Rolling Stones or like Instagram, like they're that level. Like
that is the highest compliment I could ever receive. Rolling Stones.
Sweet.
If any of the editors are watching this, I will work for you.
It's so cool.
Yeah,
so amazing. For all of you who don't know Victoria, why don't you just go and just tell us about yourself and how you got started in the concert photography business.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hi, I'm Victoria. I'm 19. I go to Savannah College of Art and Design with Rye. And basically, I got into photography like when I was really young, just because it was like around the time Instagram started coming out. I don't know if that's factually accurate, but I felt like we were at the age where like Instagram just became really big. And I was like, this is cool, and kind of just messed around with that. And then like concert photography, I just really love, like I've always really loved music. But I'm not a very talented singer, and I don't know any instruments. So I was like I love music and I love concerts, but I want to be a part of this and like what they're doing so bad. Like, oh my gosh, I'm a major One Direction fan, major Harry Styles fan.
I saw the concert before they broke up. That was my
yeah. Like, and I was like, I want to be a part of this, or like one day like work with a band like One Direction or whoever, but like how can I do that if I can't sing, or like how do I do that? And then I was like, oh, actually I really got into 21 Pilots, and their photographer, they like took on tour. That was like the first exposure I ever got to the idea that like artists hire a photographer to be with them on tour and take their picture. Like I never really thought of that as a concept, and then I was like, oh, it's the age of social media, like of course they need that. Like they need someone posting pictures. So I guess that was like how I got inspired. I don't even think the first concert I photographed was only senior year, so 2 years ago. Yeah.
Oh,
that's really cool. And it's funny that you're saying about Instagram. So for those of you watching SCAD during our online pandemic thing, we had this series where they would bring in a lot of outside professionals, like really cool professionals, to talk about what they were doing. And they had one person come in, and it was the person who shot Meghan Markle's wedding, the official photographer.
I didn't have to see that one.
Yeah, and I'm such a big fan of him because he's one of the best fashion photographers out there. And he was talking about how Instagram really made every single person a photographer. And he was just talking about how there's a lot of traditional photographers who don't like the fact that anyone can become a photographer, because if you have an iPhone, you can take pictures. And then he just said that, that just makes our life a little bit more challenging. And I kind of like that, because if a kid who's like 18 knows how to edit a picture and knows how the cool angles and is taking a better picture than you with 20 years of training, that should make you want to take better pictures.
Yeah. So I actually think about that all the time, because it's very easy. I feel like in my digital communications class at SCAD, we actually talked about this a lot, of like how you use your media platform or whatever you're putting your art, and also like how you're consuming media. And I feel like for me personally, like not even art, but like Instagram, you're constantly comparing, like, oh, this person posted this, like da da da. And it can be really inspiring, but it can also be like kind of scary, because I definitely, like on my photography Instagram, I go through and I'm like, oh my gosh, this picture's amazing. Like how did they do that? And then I like click on their account and they're like, I'm 16. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to college for this, and like you're amazing. But then after I'm like self-doubting and I'm like, I can't do this. And then I'm like, no, like you can. You just practice more, do more. Like I think it's equally inspiring and like equally daunting that anybody could, like with social media and with iPhones and the way like technology is developing, anyone can be a photographer. But I think that's really inspiring. Like some moments that we might not have been able to capture a really long time ago because like we didn't have the technology to do it. Like now, I don't know. I like that it opens it up to anybody. Also, sorry, that was kind of a tangent, but I find it inspiring and also like daunting. But I think that like motivates me, seeing really good art that like scares me. Like, oh no, like they're really good. That motivates me so much to be like, okay, well, make something not better, but like make something that you are proud of.
What they did, and it's like, oh, how does it look like that?
It just pushes you to be better, which I think is like a benefit in it, Yeah. I also think it's really cool. I wanted to add in that like you found two things that you can, find this like intersection between, because I know that whether it's, in my life or a lot of our lives, like we like all these different things, and to be able to find two things that you really like and find a blend of them that can make you happy, I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say like I feel like music was always like the drawing point for me. And then also like I feel like anyone, like, I don't know, anyone who's like kind of artistic or like you go through life, people are like, you're so artistic. Like all of those mediums kind of intersect for you. Like you're interested. I feel like everyone at SCAD that I talk to is like, oh, I'm interested in fashion, but I'm this major. Or, oh, I'm interested in movies, but I'm this major. Like any type of art is really intriguing if you're interested in one field, or just people in general. Like our whole life is art without even realizing. Like I feel like classes I take in SCAD remind me that like basically everything we're consuming is a form of art in some way that's being packaged and branded.
Foundation studies, I was like, oh, that's how that, like for like advertising and stuff, I'm like, I didn't even know you did that. And like it's all deliberate, like where the text is and where your like picture is, and I was like, I just took it, like, And like, I never even thought about it. And like,
Yeah.
someone's making that choice for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like seeing that and being like, oh, I can combine more than one thing that I'm really interested in. And like, I don't know, it was just really cool to me because you realize that you can do that with a lot of other things, not just art. Like you can find a middle path of something, two things that I was really passionate about and be like, oh, like there's this one road that I can take that has both things. Like it just blew my mind. It still does. I'm like,
Yeah,
how is
it
this a thing?
throw you down. Like for me, like I don't know what I want to do because I like so many different things. And
Yeah.
for me, like I never, like my major choice, the things I involve myself in, like I don't ever want to back myself into a corner that I can't get back out of. Like it's like scary. And I think a lot of us feel the same way, you know, like
No, I definitely felt like that. Even going to SCAD was like, I was like, oh, should I go to SCAD? Should I go to a state school? Like, if I dedicate myself to art, like, even now, I feel pressure, but it's like the first year at SCAD, I was like, oh my gosh, like, what if I go to this art school and I'm like telling my family, telling my friends, like, yeah, I'm gonna major in photography. And then I get there and I realize I'm not as good as I think, or like I can't cut it. I'm not good enough. And then like I got there and I was like, no, like this is where I need to be. This is the things I love. Like maybe life will take me in a different direction, but I definitely am like, it was very reassuring.
yeah. Cool. Well, I guess, moving on, you're really young, like we said, and that's, a really important part of this entire series. And, everybody will be able to look at your photography after this, but for us, we've seen your photography and the quality of your pictures are just absolutely phenomenal. Rye can say, Rye can also vouch if it's not, they're absolutely amazing. And so something that I was thinking about is that, I think proving yourself as somebody who is young, that you are qualified and talented enough to do the same job as an adult, or those people that you said that you idolize that would travel with different groups, can be really, really hard. So I guess we would love for you to talk about, what are some challenges that you have faced because you're so young? Have you faced judgment, criticism? What has that been like?
I would say, yeah, the biggest challenge personally, I think, is being young and like, I don't want to, but like being a girl, like in the music industry and the art industry, like, not because people are like, oh, you're a girl, you can't do it, but like in the places I'm going, like when I go to a concert, it's late at night, I'm often by myself and having to be assertive. Like I'm trying to think, one time I went to a show and sorry, I realize not everyone knows like how it works, but basically when you want to like get a photo pass to take pictures for a band or for a singer, you have to like contact their manager or their like press manager, and then they take your name, ID, and everything, and they're like, okay, we add you to a list. You go to the box office, and they like take your name and stuff, and they give you either a press pass or a ticket or whatever. But there have been times where like I go and I'm like, yeah, like they added me to the list, and they like look at me and they're like, are you sure that they added you to the list? Like you look a little young. And I'm like, no, like I contacted so-and-so. I have their email. I have their phone number. If you would like me to contact them, I can prove that I'm supposed to be here. But other, like, it's also kind of cool because there's like those moments where you're like, okay, yeah, I mean, I know I am young, but I am really passionate about it. But then also for concerts, not just one person can be like designated to take pictures. So sometimes it's really cool because I'll go and I'll see people who are like 45 and I'll see people who are like my age or a little bit older, and we're all in the photo pit together, like taking pictures. And it's cool because right before the show starts, you can be like talking to each other, like, oh, like when did you get started? Like, how did you get to where you are? Like that, like let's follow each other on Instagram, and like making those connections. And I feel like within the photography community, I certainly haven't felt like I have to like prove that I'm worth or that my pictures are worth it because of my age. I think if your body of work can like speak for itself, then a lot of people immediately respect you. I've had a lot of people be like, I didn't realize you were so young. Like you have a good sized portfolio. I didn't realize how young you were, which to me was very surprising. I was like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's
but cool. Yeah, I don't know. I think,
go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. Sorry. I just think like, I don't know how to phrase, like, I think even if you are young and you want to get into photography or really into any career or like artistic field or anything where you're like have to be authoritative, I think you just fake it till you make it. Like honestly, faking the confidence and being like, no, I am supposed to be here. Like this is what I'm doing. And if someone is speaking down to you because of your age, like that just speaks more about them than about you.
Yeah,
because yeah.
One thing I've seen with just being like a young person in this industry, because I'm not a photographer by any means, but for the last year, 2 years, I've always been in front of the camera because of what I do. And I've just really been enamored with the behind the camera parts. I've been doing photography, and I would say I'm like decent, like nothing too horrible. But what I've seen is people often don't want to pay you because of your age. And
Yes.
I've seen that with a lot of people who I know who are photographers, or they're like musicians, and they'll be like, oh, like just you're 18 or 19, like that age, or even younger, because I know kids in my high school who were amazing in photography.
Yeah.
And they just be like, oh, can you just take some pictures for me? And I think as young people, you often don't feel like asking for money. And even for me, like there has been times where they're like, oh, how much do you charge? And I'm always like, oh, whatever you want to give me.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you're hiring me. Like, I don't want to give you this price. But then I think going to SCAD really made me realize that whatever you produce, you need to charge for it.
Yeah.
And
okay, I will say, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I will say, I have dealt with that, but actually I feel like it's more actually from people my own age, like my friends. They're like, oh, can you take our prom photos? Oh, can you take, like, one of my sister's friends like recently got engaged, and they're like, oh, like, can you take our pictures? And then it's kind of like they're like, oh, well, we're the same age, like,
right. No,
this is a
unless I'm like offering my services to you, because there's certain friends I'm like, I will happily take your pictures, no problem. Like, today I like texted some boys that I knew from my high school. I'm like, hey, like, do you want some senior pictures done? Like, you know, my treat, like, totally fine. But then other people who I don't know that well, and you're asking me to give up, like,
for my services, but not.
Plus editing and all these things that I'm doing for you, like that's a price that I'm giving. Like, it's a service, and just because I'm young and don't have a company and I'm just freelancing doesn't mean my services should be costing any less.
And I also think that can go with too how we were saying, like, everyone has an iPhone, everyone has Instagram. I think for our generation, it's easy to be like, well, you just spent an hour or whatever with me. You didn't, because I feel like I get it more from people our age. When I've worked for like a couple older people, and they're like, oh, it's like, oh, like, let me pay you. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I do the thing where I'm like, oh, like, whatever you want to give me, thanks for helping me. When I guess I should be more like, no, this is my set rate. Like, this is what But
how is that navigating with people our age then? Because that can be difficult, to have to like stand up for yourself, I feel like.
Yes. I feel like it depends on the relationship with the person. Like, if they're friends, I don't feel bad, because a lot of my friends have heard me complain and be like, oh, like, I wish people would like either take me seriously, or like, especially my sister, because my sister is 22. So like any trip we go on, she's like, can you take my pictures? Can you take my pictures? Which is just like on her phone for Instagram, which is fine. But I took her graduation photos and stuff, and like she paid me because she knows like this is what I want to do. And so like with someone that I have a personal connection with, she like understands, and it's really easy for me to be like, hey girl, like, these are your graduation pictures. These are going to go on cards. Like, you're going to be printing these out, and it's going to take a lot of my time and a lot of editing. Like, these are going to be pictures that you're going to have for a really long time. And like, they're certain, like, it's a certain price. But then I feel like I'm more uncomfortable with people that I don't know as well, because I don't want to either be too assertive or overstep a boundary or like something like that, because then I'm like, oh, like, I want to keep this client. But I think it's just finding a balance of like professionalism and being like flat out from the beginning, if someone's interested in your services, saying, okay, like, this is my rate, like, just so you know, like, if you want a breakdown of why the price is the way it is, this is why I price it that way, like, these are my years of experience. And I think that way they take you a little more seriously.
Yeah, that's good that you figured it out, but that's frustrating that you have to go through that.
Well, photography, like we've been talking about, it's really a part of our lives now. Every moment is being photographed or videoed in some way or form. And like, photography itself has become an oversaturated market. There's photographers, a photographer. It's not that hard to not have a photographer. So what do you think sets you apart as a photographer? And what do you think will set you apart in the future when there are big companies like the Rolling Stones wanting to take pictures of this concert? What sets you apart?
I think that's a very scary question. I'm like, whew, hope my future employer. But no, I think it is hard because it's very oversaturated. But I think a lot of, not like photography, but a lot of media that's being put in this like kind of vacuum of like Instagram, TikTok, a lot of it is very like trend based, I feel like.
Yeah.
And like certain trends, yes, will last. Like we see certain trends last, but I think there's an importance in like what I do with my photography is I try really hard not to just like follow a trend or like I feel like everyone knows like the Lightroom preset where it's like everything's orange and blue.
Right.
Like trying to make your work stand out in a way where it has like that signature look. Like I try to keep all my filters the same. And when I'm taking like concert pictures, like moments that are connecting, not just the artist, but I really, really want to get more into pictures of the fans. And then eventually like backstage photos of people to like bridge that gap as someone who has been a major fan of people and someone who wants to be in the music industry, like bridge the gap between the two and create more of an environment where those things interact. And I think that helps me stand out in a way because a lot of photographers focus on one or the other. And like kind of like I feel like my favorite moments in photography are the tiny little moments that like humanize a person that a lot of people idolize. Like my favorite pictures are seeing like icons, like like a picture of like Beyonce. I'm trying to think of one that comes to mind. That's one of my favorite, but I can't think of one right now. Where it's like Beyonce before she does a big show, and it's like her in front of the mirror, like getting ready.
Yeah,
and it's like
a picture in my room of JFK just eating an ice cream on the boat.
I love
yes,
that.
And like, it's just him like eating like a cone of ice cream on the boat, and it's just so
yes. Like, you know, something that brings those people that in our head are so big and like not takes them down a notch, but reminds you like, oh, they're a person. Like I find those moments so wholesome and I want to capture that and like just put it anywhere I can. But also with like regular people, like my goal has always been, like I think about this all the time. Like I love movies and like how they romanticize everything and like all that kind of thing. I want to take pictures of people like where they look at that photo and they're like, my life looks like a movie. Like this looks like a still from a movie.
Yeah.
Like I want to make that for people and be like, this is your life. It can be a movie. Look, this one still is perfect. But yeah.
I love that. No, that's so sweet. And another thing, like also I just wanted to say, like for me, the photographer that comes to my head is, do you know Post Malone's photographer? He's with him there. He always has pictures of him back, like behind the scenes and stuff like that.
The backstage pictures are my favorite. Like just to yes.
I think one thing Victoria does beautifully, and please look at her pictures to know what I'm talking about, but most of her concerts are in smaller locations. So it's not like Mercedes-Benz or, you know, like where you need like a huge camera on a crane to get this person to like look somewhat like their normal size because it's such a big arena. So she usually takes pictures in like small rooms where the fans are really up to the stage. Yeah. And most of her pictures are not even just the person. It's like the fans are reaching out and then they're talking. It kind of just connects both of them. And I never noticed it until you said it right now, but all of her pictures are really organic. And like anytime she would like post on her story where she was, I'm like, where are you? Because it looks like so fun.
Yeah.
Every picture looked like, why wasn't I there?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Like you did. And speaking of really fun moments in picture and photography, I think as creatives, we all have that one project or one moment where you're like, that was amazing. I'm so proud of that. Like, that's great. So what do you think your most creatively fulfilling photography moment has been? Or like the most fun that you're like,
okay.
Like, proud of, or like, it was just great.
Yeah.
I feel like my favorite concert I've ever shot was for Gus Dapperton. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes. I shot him in a tiny, tiny venue in Atlanta. And my favorite thing when I was like shooting in Atlanta is because I didn't know the city very well, like I was kind of like some venues I'd never been to. And I was like, don't know how this is going to go. Like I'm going to kind of have to like learn while I'm there because in my hometown, I'd been shooting for 1 year, like senior year, and we didn't have as many venues. So I would basically be in in the same venue. So I knew like, oh, like over here has really good lighting, over here, like moving around a lot easier. But I remember for this venue when I was shooting Gus, it was tiny. There was normally there's a thing called a photo pit where photographers can be kind of in that gap that's between the stage and where the fans are. And photographers can be right there for the first 3 songs. He didn't have that. So I was like, okay, I really have to maneuver through this crowd because fans were in front of me. And I was like, okay, like I don't want hands in the shot, or I want like clear pictures of him. But then I found like my favorite picture I've ever taken is of him. And he's like on the edge of the stage spitting water up. And you can see like some of the fans' hands in it. And that was my favorite picture because, well, my favorite picture and like experience. First of all, the concert was amazing. He had so much energy.
Yes.
And I felt like that came through in my pictures, which made me so happy that I could like capture that. Yeah. But also the energy of like just feeling that moment. I was like, oh gosh, like I could tell right before I was like, oh, he's gonna spit the water up, but I have to like make sure my shutter speed is fast enough so I can get it. And then like people were moving around and just like the anxiety of it, but also it was so exhilarating because when I was taking it, I was like, I hope I got the shot. I hope I got the shot. And then I looked at my camera right after the show and I'm like, I can't believe I just did that. I can't believe. And then I got to meet him after and talk to him about it, which was like so fulfilling to me. I was literally like, this cannot be, like that night was unreal for me.
Yeah.
But
that sounds so cool.
Yeah,
I know.
Look at that. He's amazing too. I love his music.
Yeah, I love his music, and it was honestly like so exciting because I feel like for some like indie artists, I'm like, oh no, like are they gonna be as good live as like what they are on Spotify? And he was so like the energy he had live was, it felt like he could have been in a stadium, and it was literally a room of probably less than 100 people, and I was like, this like the stage presence he had was amazing, and I just felt like honored. I was like, I'm so honored that like I can be here capturing this happening. And just, yeah.
No, that's literally amazing. I cannot wait to see those pictures. As soon as we're done, I'm totally going to look. But yeah, so I guess, you know, moving on, something that, I mean, I'm sure actually that I'll see them in these pictures because it's something that I noticed very clearly about your pictures is that you have a very unique editing style, or at least I thought so. I feel like, you know, and I don't know normal photography lingo. Like, I mean, I take pictures on my iPhone. I sometimes my dad's Canon camera, you know, but I don't really know very well. But what I noticed in yours is that you have colors come out a lot, and then you also contrast that so deeply with shadows, which I think is super, super beautiful. And Brian and I both agree that we just think there's such like a unique look, and I can answer for you that I think that makes you unique from, you know, tying off that last question. But I guess
you're like a personal style that a lot of photographers lack. Like, I feel like I know you're gonna be big one day, but when people look at your picture, like say like an Annie Leibovitz like portrait, you see it and you're like, oh, that's her. Like she took that picture. Like I feel like that's with you. Like you see the picture and you're like, oh, you know, that's her picture.
Yeah, and you know, people know what they're getting, which is awesome. But I guess we're wondering, what is your inspiration behind that? How do you choose how you edit? You know, how do you decide what angles you're gonna shoot at? You know, what's your creative inspiration?
I will say with concert photography, angles wise, it's hard because a lot of it feels very reactionary because you're like, oh, like this is happening right now, I need to move, because you don't really know. I guess it would change if you go on tour with a person. You can be a lot more direct and like intentional with what you're doing.
Right.
But I feel like for concerts, you have to be like this, because I'm like, okay, where are the lights going? How is the person either like, there's another picture I have that I really like, where it's a guy and he's sitting on the piano, and the way the light is coming over him, it like, he cuts right in half of the light. It's hard to like explain, but I always look for ways where the light is interacting with the person, and if it's like highlighting them or highlighting something else in the picture and using that to either highlight like a moment that I really like. And then it's actually really interesting with concert photography. A lot of my photos, like just in camera, don't look very good at first because you have to shoot in RAW, which basically is the highest like.
Oh, you must have a whole huge hard drive.
Yeah, you have to have a large space. It's basically the image, like the camera's capturing the highest amount of like pixels that it can, so that later you can really change stuff. So sometimes I'll look at a picture and I'm like, ugh, like the moment was perfect, and I'm like, I don't know if the lighting's gonna work out. And then I take it into Photoshop and I kind of change shadows, change whatever, and I'm like, this is salvageable, like thank you. Right. But I feel like for my style, I just try, it is so satisfying when someone has really good lighting. Like the way, it's also interesting because when like sorry, I'm going on so many tangents, but I get so excited about it.
Yeah, yeah.
But the more I like learned about concert photography just from like researching other people or like seeing more shows, the more I realized how intentional artists are with like their stage direction and like design, which now that I think about it, I'm like, why wouldn't they be intentional with it? But like, it's just something when you're watching concert, you don't think about it, but every light, where it's hitting during a certain song, like that is an intentional thing. So a lot of times during shows, I try to best accent where the lights are hitting, because a lot of times like the way they're hitting the camera can be really weird or really like off. So I try really hard to get that, and then also contrast that with like the crowd. It's a lot of just like moving, like you really just have to move and be fast and think on your feet because every show is different. Like, and also something I'll say with like smaller artists, sometimes in these smaller venues, the lighting systems are really different. They might not have as good lighting. Yeah. So that's hard to work with. But it's also, I don't know if a lot of people know this. I didn't know this when I first started concert photography, but for most shows, you only get to shoot the first 3 songs of a set, and then you can't shoot anymore or you'll get kicked out, basically.
You have like 10 minutes. Basically,
yeah, that is a lot of pressure because you're like, this is it. Like, if I don't get it for these 3 songs, like, I don't get the shot. So yeah, it's just, I think it's just being, like, having, I don't know, I'm still very young, so I'm learning. I'm sure a lot of people are more intentional than I am with what they're doing, but I feel like having that, like, sense of, like, you really have to sense when a moment is happening. I feel like I try that a lot because I want to capture moments between like a singer and a fan. So it's like sensing, like seeing where they're moving, where are their eyes looking? Are they about to reach into the crowd? Are they about to make a move? Like sensing what the person is doing on stage and like calculating what's going to happen next. It's like thinking a step forward so you can get the shot that you want, I guess, is what I really try to do.
That's amazing. And beautiful.
Yeah. But it's like so fun because you're like every night is different.
Yeah.
Well, like two things. One is I've danced my whole life. So for like our big shows, we will always have our photographers because my parents hate like standard dance photography. So they're like, we want like something different and cool. Like everyone, like whatever. So we always have the photographers and videographers watch about 3 rehearsals of ours just to like know. Yeah, because like you can see a difference. Like photographers who are there on that day, like you don't know what's happening, and like where the lights hit and all that. So we'll have like tech rehearsal with them. We have dress rehearsal with them.
That's really smart. Like sometimes I will, like if I'm trying to research, like if it's someone I really really like, I will look up either like concert videos because like with the internet, like everything's out there. Like certain bands I really like, I'm like I know the set list down. Like I know exactly what song's coming when. So I try to like either see what fans have been posting and I'm like, okay, this song has this really good lighting, or like certain artists I feel like have one song or like a couple songs where they like dictate, okay, this is where a fan interaction is going to happen. Like I'm going to get in the crowd, I'm going to crowd surf, I'm going to do this. It's so like knowing that in advance is really helpful. So I also try to do a little bit of research. So I'm like, okay, like not just reacting to everything, but
that's really interesting. I feel like photography does not seem like a discipline that has a lot of preparation. Like to me, it seems like it would be really hard, especially for concert photography. When you don't like, you're not like Rai said, you're not like going to the rehearsals. Like that seems to me like it would be really difficult to be able to like research or even prepare in any way. So I think that's cool that you've like, that seems like a very innovative way to me that you've been able to, you know, combat that.
It's just like, I feel like I feel like I try to take my experience as a fan and be like, okay, like, even if I'm photographing someone I might not be a huge fan of, I'm like, okay, well, let's see, like, what are the fans excited about? What do they want to see? What are they, like, what is their favorite moment in the show? How can I capture that? Because it's also like, if I'm taking pictures of Post Malone, I want Post Malone's audience to interact with that picture or see that photo because they're the ones who have the power to get Post Malone to see that, or someone else, like, they're the ones. It's hard to think about because it's not just like an art, because I feel like, sorry, I keep talking in tangents, but as a photographer, I'll see pictures and maybe if I don't know the person who's the photo is of, I can still recognize that it's a good picture. But I feel like you have to know your audience and I'm like, oh, like the internet is a powerful thing. If I post these photos of whatever singer on TikTok, on Twitter, on Instagram, their fans are going to find a way to find it because they want this content. They're looking for it.
Yeah.
So using that to your advantage and knowing that the people I'm taking pictures of most likely have a very dedicated fan base that want to see these things.
For sure.
It's such a good point that you brought up the audience part, because I think one of the biggest things that I learned going to art school specifically was you got to know your audience when you're making certain pieces. Like, you can have your like creative moment where you just want to do your thing, but you want your stuff to sell. Like at the end of the day, you have to sell. And like your audience is just a huge part of everything. And another thing, super random for anyone who's watching, if you're going into photography, shoot in RAW. Like I know she talked about it, but please shoot in RAW. You have a lot more control of your photos, and it'll take up a lot more space, but you can do a lot more with it later. So shoot in RAW. Just a little tidbit.
Cool. Well, so I think you might have actually answered this, but obviously there's a lot of things that are really difficult. And so we wanted to know, what has been the biggest learning curve? Would you say that it was, finding those angles and, going fast paced, or what would you say? And with that, what is also something that you wish you knew when you started?
Okay. The biggest learning curve, I feel like, it's honestly just, I would also say like, I like to shoot, most concert photographers are going to shoot in manual while they're in a show. So it honestly, like, it took me a really long time to figure out f-stop and all of these really technical things, because when you're, like you really just need to play around with your camera, and also different lighting settings, because in a concert environment, the lighting is going to be different every single time. So you need to become really, really comfortable with knowing the settings on your camera, because it's going to change. And for every picture, you're changing it and moving it around until you get it. Like, I really like, if I'm shooting a person, like I'll go for the opener so I can get my settings like basically like calibrated to what the lighting is basically going to be, and make sure I like the images that are coming out, even in RAW, just because then I have a better chance of liking them in post editing. So I think that was really helpful, because for my first ever concert, I was like, I don't really know, like I'm nervous. I would also say the biggest learning curve I had is at a lot of shows, like I realized a lot of security and stuff, like they don't really know what to tell you if you're like, hey, I'm here for this, like, where do I go? They don't really know. So I think just being aware of what you're doing, and honestly, if you walk in, like, you know what you're doing, no one's really going to stop you. There have been times where I've been like on the side of the stage, like taking pictures through like the speaker area, like on the stage in an auditorium, and I probably wasn't supposed to be there, but like if you like just take risks. I feel like I was really scared to take risks because I was so young, and I was like, oh, like I don't want to get in trouble with anybody, or which, like, take it with a grain of salt, but like take risks, because someone might
they would tell you to like not do it. Right. Like,
my biggest piece of advice is like, first of all, if you don't ask, the answer is going to always be no. Like if you don't take the opportunity to be like, can I get back there? Security is so nice. They'll literally be like, sure. Like, just be friendly, be kind. If you make friends with the people that are running these venues or being security for these venues, they will help you. Like, they want it. Like, it's the sweetest moment I ever had. I was at a show and I was taking pictures. The security guard comes up, taps me on the shoulder. He's like, do you want to be on the side of the stage? Like, come up here. And I was like, thank you. And then after the show, he comes up to me. He's like, did you get any good shots? Like, can I see them? And I'm like, these people, like, they love music. They want to see you, like, succeed. It's really just about putting yourself out there.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing.
That's so, I think that advice can be put to like any field.
Anything. Yeah, not even photography.
Nice. Like the amount of things that even I've gotten to do just because I asked.
Yeah, just ask.
So just ask.
Also, for anyone like really beginner to concert photography, I didn't realize how easy it is to find information on bands or whatever just by looking it up. Like, I was honestly shocked that 90% of like Gus Dapperton, Young the Giant, I'm trying to think of like bigger name people so people know who I'm talking about. Yeah. Or like even Wallows, Coin, like all of these people that are like pretty fairly famous. If you go on their Facebook and scroll down, it literally says like press contact with an email.
Yeah,
and all you have to do is
Instagram page, you can just click the email button and you will get their manager.
And you just email them and say, hi, my name's Victoria. I'm a freelance photographer, really into concert photography. Like, here's my portfolio. Can I get a press pass? Yeah. It's that easy. You just have to get your name out there and just look for the information.
And if you're going out there, if you have any way of creating a portfolio, I think that has helped me so much. Just like having that ready, be like, oh, just go to this link. You can see all my work.
Yeah, just go to my website. Yeah. It's all set up.
Yeah, so just have that ready. If you're like prepared and an opportunity like comes up and you have something to show them, like that's the best thing. Like, yes, there's the luck involvement and can you meet this person, all these things. But if you're prepared for that moment, like you're ready, you'll get that.
Yes.
So
see, it's all just about ambition and like opening your own doors, you know, like seeking your own opportunity. Like, I know that sounds so cliche and so like redundant, but it's true. You know, like you advocate for yourself in this world, and if you seek opportunity, you're gonna find it. You know. No, that's.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's amazing. Like, and I love that you do that.
Well, one thing we've been talking to all of our interviewees with is COVID and the pandemic and how that's affected a lot of things. And just in terms of the arts, it's been really hard for a lot of people. And I am blessed to say, and I think for Victoria too, like this isn't our main source of income. So we're okay. Like it's not a big problem. But until even last month, movies weren't being shot. TV shows weren't being shot. And you guys, like most people think of just the actors and directors, but you have the huge crew who are relying on the arts to be like their main source of income. And I think one of the best memes I saw during this time was everyone just shits on arts and artists the whole time. But guess what you're doing right now? You're reading books,
watching Netflix,
watching movies, listening to music, and that's all because of artists. And so, go ahead.
I just saw a video that I think it was an artist that honestly was fed up with that exact sentiment that you know what you just said, and they put together a video where it was people watching dancing and people painting and obviously, you know, both Ryan and I figured out through this series, at least, that everyone is taking this time to be more creative and pursue passions like this, you know? And this artist had made a whole video, and it was we are all artists. We are relying on artists during this time. We are relying on art. I think just to say that, you know, we shouldn't be taking it for granted because we're all relying on it right now, you know?
Yeah.
I think the arts and any other industry has been really hit. And being a photographer, I know that can be difficult because most of the time you are less than 6 feet from a person taking pictures. So how has COVID and the pandemic affected you and your business and concert photography?
Yes. Well, concert photography has been completely stopped just because concerts can't happen. Big groups of people can't happen. All that can't happen. It's actually really sad. I just posted on Instagram today because there's people are fighting for in Georgia actually because a bunch of small concert venues are about to go out of business because no one you can't have group gatherings these independent owned concert venues that a lot of them on the list I had shot for, and I was like, no, I love these venues, please don't let them go out of business. That was scary for me because I was these give me the best memories. The music industry is honestly kind of scary right now because a lot of artists make their money from touring. They don't make the most money from selling an album. They're making it from touring, from selling merch and those kinds of things. So it's kind of but for photography, I've honestly been a little stagnant with my art right now just because I'm focused on work. But I actually did a series that was called Signs of the Times. Yes. Yes, and it was all
caption was so cute. So she went around her city taking pictures of different signs and boards.
Of all the basically not local businesses, but businesses in my town that at the beginning of coronavirus put up hopeful messages or just we'll get through it, stay safe, wear a mask, whatever. I took all these signs and then the caption was Signs of the Times, just because I feel especially at the beginning of Corona, I was oh my gosh, I want to be a photojournalist. I have to be documenting what's happening right now. This is a historical moment that we're going to be talking about. If I don't document this, I'm crazy. I need to be doing this. So that was one project I did, and I'm actually working on something right now that is also kind of Corona related. But yeah, it definitely has impacted me with concerts, but I think it's helped because like with Corona, I have had a little more free time, and I'm like really thinking about my art and what I'm doing. And honestly, now like I was looking back at my pictures, and I think the best thing as a photographer for like to happen to you is to look back at your pictures and be like, those are not very good. That means I'm like growing. I'm like, oh, yes, I'm getting better. Like my ideas are getting better. My like concepts are getting better, which I think has happened during COVID. Like I'm so inspired because I can't wait to get out and like interact with people and take pictures. But it's also inspiring. I've seen all those photo shoots where people are like taking like Vogue did, like the photo shoot through FaceTime. Like, yes.
Addison
Like
Rae's American Eagle campaign was through that. And like
yeah.
I see them.
Like seeing how people are taking this and seeing them be creative is like pushing me to be like, this isn't stopping art. Like art is not stopping. You need to find a way to use what you have and do something with it. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm working on ideas.
To another person who we interviewed. Her name's Emma Williams, and she's an influencer. And we were just talking about like photography in general. And for me, because my entire life I've been like, let me shoot these outfits. Like that's my thing. I'm gonna shoot my outfits. And I had to shoot them at home. And it was just like, my home's not cute. Like, it's pretty, but I'm not gonna take pictures here. But just like getting creative with that and like figuring out location and figuring out like the fact is there's art in everything. And it's all about angle and your like the way you think about it. And I think most people have just like how Kara was saying, like your dad's Canon. Like you have a decent camera, use that and like go above your iPhone and you'll have a higher quality image. And there's such great programs online for you to edit it. Most colleges are now giving the Creative Suite. You have like Visco or Tezza. Download one of them and just have fun with that. Like you can really, in your four walls, you can do so much. Like I've been seeing people making their own backgrounds.
Someone who's really inspired me, pardon me, I'm going to go on my phone just because I want to find her there's this girl that I love on Instagram and she's always inspired me, but especially now during Corona, I'm like, this girl is so smart. She builds like all of these sets in her house and makes the most beautiful pictures. Hold on.
I'm trying to find an influencer that I like love. Her name is Hamal Patel. She's from North Carolina, and she does the coolest things at home. Like she'll just take her like saris and draperies and just put it behind and shoot on a nice camera.
Yes,
you can have art. Like it's so cool.
Yeah, we find it everywhere.
To anybody like who's watching this, look up. I don't know how to like put her in, but her is Kimberly, and she makes the cool, like she takes these like things in her house or like just goes to like a dollar store and creates the most beautiful sets and she's like does self-portraits and it's like so inspiring to see what she makes because she also does time lapses of her setting it up and it's just so inspiring. She's on TikTok now too and like I just love her work because it's like, oh, if you like I can do this, just take a room in your house, take the time, like it's just like shows you how creative you can be if you put your mind to it.
I think Victoria can relate to this one, but for our 3D design class, which we took online, so a big part of that is photographing it and doing it. And I was like, oh, like how am I going to photograph it? And they taught us how to make a set in your house. So I took one corner, put like a sheet and put like lighting, which are just $5 lamps from Walmart used for our drawing class to like draw. And I didn't even use an actual camera. I used the portrait on my phone. And they were the highest quality image, looked so professional. Like I shot this thing at a studio. And I had like shoes on.
Right? Your Air Force One?
Yeah, they look so cool. And they were two $5 lamps and a $10 sheet on top of like one of those like bar stool type things.
Yeah.
That's it. So,
no, I feel like if you just like, it's hard to be like, get creative with what you're doing, but like, honestly, like just being a little more intentional with certain things, like you can transform a picture just with like a clean bed sheet or like better lighting on something.
You know, for one of our campaign shoots for Leudic, our first collection is called the Cozy Collection for anyone who's watching or listening. But something that, you know, we had to figure out, how are we going to take these cool pictures inside? Because this was back in May, you know, definitely things a lot more closed down. And we were in my room one day, and Ryan and I were like, how are we going to get our 3 friends, you know, to take cool pictures? And we actually just took my comforter out of the duvet. We got a ladder from my garage, and we just got like a plain pillow from a couch in my room. And we went over and with the Canon camera, just took pictures. And they're honestly some of my favorite pictures that we took. I think they turned out so good. The lighting, it was sunny outside, so we just opened my shutters and just, you know, and all of that was free and easy. And no, it's the same thing you're saying. I think it just pushes all of us to be more creative.
Yeah, I think it's
look for it,
pushing us to be more resourceful with like what we have, because we're so limited.
Yeah.
And if anyone wants to go take pictures outside, now is the time to do it, because it's empty everywhere.
Yeah.
So be safe, take a mask, and go shoot at places because there's no one there. Like Karen went down to Midtown in Atlanta one day, and we just walked, and there was no one there. Literally nobody. Cool. And we just shot pictures. So if you do want to go outside and take pictures, like now is the time to do it, because there's no one there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess, you know, thinking of now we want to shift a little bit more to the future. What is the future of, you know, concert photography for you? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, or even just the nearer future?
Yes. Okay.
Harry Styles on the cover of Rolling Stones.
Yeah, I'm like, me and Harry Styles are married. I'm also his concert photographer, so I go on tour with him, and we have 3 kids. So. But my I guess, I don't know if this is like my 5-year plan, but I would love to be shooting for a magazine, Rolling Stone. But like shooting for a magazine, or just working with a band or singer that I really actually care about, and getting to go on tour with them. Like, if I can do that, that's my next goal. Like, my next goal in my photography plan basically is just to get to travel with someone and get, like I was saying, those behind the scenes, like to get to really spend time and dive deep into a project versus just one night is something like I feel like is most concert photographers' goal. But for me, that's something I really want to do. And then eventually getting to either submitting freelance for Rolling Stone, or ending up working for them and writing articles, and going, like, doing big projects on bigger bands and getting to go with them maybe just for a couple weeks on tour, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And we both wish you the best of luck, and can't wait to see you.
Please remember us when you get big. And
I know you're going to be traveling.
No, you guys are going to be the ones getting big, and I'll be like, can I take pictures for you?
No, we'll get back together. We can all.
I think just one of the coolest things, I think this is the last year that you've grown into, is just making your pictures more, the best way to, like, trippy, I would say, is the best thing I did. So one of our elevators at SCAD, they have disco lights in it. That's just what SCAD is, and it has disco lights, and it's
that is just a campus.
Yeah, and she took pictures of 2 of her friends who I love, and it's just them, like, with cool sunglasses in the corner. It's just like the coolest lighting, and I think you've really used Photoshop and all of that, and I think you've just
the one Rye's talking about, my friend Bella, is like a kaleidoscope effect. I love the backstory behind this picture, because it was for a design project where we had to use like certain.
I'll add the image here for those who are watching. I'll add the specific image so people.
Thank you. We had to do certain types of like focal points. And that was supposed to be like an A focal point. Like, there's no focal point. It's a kaleidoscope kind of effect of her face. But the other thing I liked about that project is that it was supposed to be inspired by music. So I was already like all over that. So that picture was actually inspired by the song Woman by Harry Styles. If you would like to listen to it and see if it gives you that vibe. But yeah, that's like one of my favorite pictures, because I got to incorporate photography, music, and people I love, my roommates. I was like, this is
more like a pattern.
I went to school for this.
Yeah, and I think it's more like a pattern than like one image. So for people listening who can't see it, think of like one face repeated multiple times, and ends up just looking like a print more than like a person. So it's just super cool. And
look at them.
Oh, you have it's sick. Like,
no, I'm going. So I'm gonna go stalk all the way down to the beginning of your your
Yeah.
photography
Oh,
game.
As
gosh.
soon as I like followed her when I went to college, I was like, Mom, look, she's so cool.
Yeah.
Stop.
Earlier I was stalking. I was like, oh my gosh, she's so good at what she
Yeah.
does.
Guys, it's warming my heart. I can't handle it.
So just kind of wrapping up questions.
Yeah.
This has been so fun, and not just because
Thank you for
I
having me.
love talking to people who get focal points and chat for contrast. Focal points
Just got things.
me. Your professor will always find how you did a focal point wrong.
Yeah.
But more than that, it's just learning the ins and outs of concert photography. There's so many things I think both Kara and I just did not know, like the research that goes behind it. And I think that's the way with a lot of, like every interview that we've had so far, every one of them have said like the surface is literally just the tip of the iceberg, like what you're seeing.
Yeah.
There's so much that goes into it. And I think that's true for any business, but it was so cool to learn that from you. So just wrapping up some questions. One is, what was the most rewarding part of this journey? And two is, for all those young and hungry hustlers out there who want to get into concert photography, what's your biggest advice?
Okay. Most rewarding thing I think I've ever had happen is for this guy, Johnny P. I took pictures for him at a festival. And actually, the only reason I got to take pictures is because I stuck my camera in, which wasn't supposed to do, but I stuck my camera in and I was like trying to take pictures before security got me. They never did, which was fine. And I posted them on Instagram and I tagged him and he DM'd me and was like, these are awesome. Please send me whatever you have. And like, that was so rewarding to me that like an artist themselves was like, we really like what you do. And he posted them on his Instagram. And I remember it literally, I saw he tagged me in a picture and I was like, oh my gosh. Like,
You were like,
that was the
that's
rewarding
it.
thing I've ever had.
Yeah.
Or I know I talked about Gus, but like I actually got to show Gus some pictures and he was so sweet. I was like, these are amazing. And like talking to me about it. And I was like, getting to show someone that I took pictures of their photo and seeing their response and them like just being excited about it, like rewards me more than anything. Cause I'm like, wow, like maybe I am kind of good at what I do.
You are extremely good at what you do.
Thank you. And then my biggest piece of advice, I guess I would just say, it's so cliche, but like, just don't be afraid. Like, push yourself. And if you have a dream, like, you have to be the one to chase it. You have to be the one who's advocating for yourself and speaking up for yourself and doing everything you can. Because I feel like I'm very passionate, but I'm a lot of the times, sometimes a quieter person in the room, or I don't speak up a lot. And I feel like, especially doing concert photography, I've learned like, if I want something or want to do something, like I have to advocate for myself and learn to use my voice and also just sell myself and my work to people that are willing to listen, because people are willing to listen. People want to help you and want to talk to you. And so I think, yeah, just like being young and hungry, being hungry for what you're passionate about and sharing that with people. Because if you share that with people, the more people who hear you talking about it, someone's going to bite on and say, I support you, or like, I'm just interested in what you're doing. Like, let me help you. And I think the more you advocate for yourself, the more that's going to happen.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we couldn't have put it better ourselves. Like,
No, really, yeah, honestly. Well, thank you so much for being here, first of all. And I know that Ryan said this, but like, I just want to say as well, like, I've learned so much about this. To be honest with you, I don't like, you know, those things that you don't like realize they happen until it's brought to your attention. Like, Rye, you know, came to me and said, I know this really, really cool girl who has this really amazing, like, passion and talent. And I was like, okay, cool. And she's like, concert photography. And I was like, wow, I didn't even think about the fact that people do that. Like, I know it happens. I didn't like actively process and think about it. And I think, one, it is amazing what you're doing. I don't know a single young person doing that. I think that it is amazing that you're able to, like I said, like that you're able to find that section between things that you love. I know that from looking just at your pictures, they're so unique, so distinct. Seriously, like I think you're so talented. And I know that you're going to go far. And I know I can speak on behalf of Rye as well when I say we're so excited to watch you grow and, you know, be able to take those cool pictures for some really things.
Thank you guys.
Yeah. Do you want to say what your social media handles are so people can check you out?
Oh, yes. My Instagram is Victoria Mabe Visuals. That's on Instagram. And my website is vmphotos@wix.com. Yeah.
Yes, guys, please go check her out. She is so talented, so amazing. You will not regret it. You will be so eye-open to how cool her pictures are.
So thank you again for coming. You inspired us so much today and taught us so much. And just like a quick anecdote about her, this was our like maybe second or third month that we were unscad. So we went to Pond City Market just to bond, like all the girls.
Yeah.
Oh, let's just like hang out. And like we knew she was a photographer, but like we were also like getting to know each other because first year at SCAD, it doesn't matter what major you are, you're in the same classes. So we were, and I was like, oh, can you take some pictures of me? Because she was just taking her roommate's pictures. And from her, I learned to always take 100 pictures. Because as soon as I got it back, my entire camera roll is of one outfit. And when I first saw that, I was like, okay, well, I mean, that's kind of excessive, but all right. Because before that, I would always be like 10 pictures. And I think Kara will find this really funny because I would literally only take like 10 pictures. I'm like, 10 pictures, this is good, this is what I wanted, I got it. I take 900 pictures for 2 hours now.
Yeah. I went on the photo story in Midtown. Between the two of us in 2 hours, we had 986 photos.
But I bet you got the shot.
Oh, we got more than enough.
Yeah.
And I definitely learned that from you because I didn't check my phone and I came home. I was like, oh, let me post a picture. And it was like 60 pictures of 2 hours. And I was like, I was standing there for maybe like 2 minutes. How did she get this many? I'm like, I had so many choices. So that's just like one thing that I learned from her, and just stepping outside your comfort zone and finding cool things. And I've had such a pleasure to get to know you. Like above all this, like I know most of you won't get to meet her, but she's one of the sweetest people and always so nice. She's the only person who takes 8 a.m.s willingly. Every day she takes 8 a.m.s willingly.
Guys, that is a lot of willpower because I would be shooting concerts that didn't end till like 12 and then I would get up for an 8 a.m.
Love that. No, me too. I like to take 8 a.m. so I can get them done.
Yeah.
So she's an amazing person, and I just want to thank you. Kara and I are so honored that you were here. Like I know you're saying that you're honored to be here, but really like
we're honored.
Series, more than who will listen and who will watch, it's for us to learn and grow as creatives.
No, I just love getting to talk to you guys. Like,
yeah. So just thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's just so rewarding to like talk to people about these things.
Yeah, I think we want, like we like that honestly like is the premise of what Young and Hungry is. Like we were about to just say, this platform wants to support and empower these young people that are pursuing really, really cool endeavors. And we know, from us starting our own business that you work so hard to barely be recognized, and it's no one's fault. It's just difficult. And that's why, we want to be able to show you to talk about your process and talk about everything that goes into those beautiful shots that that you put on Instagram and stuff like that.
So we just want to wish you luck for all your future endeavors. And I know concerts are dead for another year or so, but they're back. I cannot wait to see what you do. And even on your free time, just the way you do things inspires us so much. So thank you for coming.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And for anybody else that is just watching or listening, because we do have this in a podcast form as well. Like we just said, this platform is just to support these young and hungry professionals that are professionals and people that are just pursuing, unique passions. So if anybody watching or listening has any suggestions, please let us know. We really want to highlight as many young hustlers as we can because there are a lot of them and they deserve to be recognized. So you can do this by either leaving a suggestion in the comments or you can email us at leudicshop@gmail.com. That's spelled Leudic shop@gmail.com. And you can also DM us on Instagram. That's also Leudic Shop. On Facebook or Instagram. So
thank you again for those of you who tuned in. We had so much fun shooting this, and I'm so glad that it's just a collaboration between Kara and I. Whenever we come up with a person, she'll be like, oh, this person's really cool in my life. And I was so honored to bring you up as someone who's really cool in my life.
I'm so happy to meet you. You're a wonderful, amazing.
It was so good to talk to you.
Yes.
So just thank you for everyone for tuning in. We just wanted to have, like Kara said, to have this platform to highlight these super cool and creative individuals.
Yeah.
Until next time, just remember to stay young and hungry and keep hustling. Thanks all for watching. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.